Michael Chandler left Bellator to move to the UFC. He was the official replacement for the UFC 254 main event bout between Khabib and Justin Gaethje. He made weight and was fully prepared to step in now. After months after his first debut, the fight is finally set. He will meet Dan Hooker at UFC 257 and will fight on the same card as Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier. This is the official fight announcement, and the first reactions to it. Reporter Brett Okamoto confirms this news and explains why it took so long to announce this matchup. He says a few last-minute logistical hurdles needed to be cleared, but it's now all set. 20 days away. Here you got. After 2 unsuccessful bookings, the UFC is once again setting up the welterweight title fight between Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns. According to multiple reports, the two will headline UFC 258 on February 13th. Combat first reported the news and was later confirmed by MMA Fighting, stating that both fighters already agreed verbally, but have yet to sign their contracts. Usman vs Burns was originally slated for UFC 251 in July. That pairing fell through after Burns tested positive for COVID-19. He was subsequently replaced by Jorge Masvidal, who ended up losing via unanimous decision. The UFC then tried to rebook the fight for UFC 256 in December, but decided to postpone these plans for the early months of
The answer to that question is who gives it. Okay, right. Neither one of these guys can fight. It's all a big gimmick, and you know, like I said in a press conference, there's a market for that. People are dumb enough to spend their money watching that. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Good luck to them. But I don't even, you know, the guy's talking all. I could care less with that guy. I get it. He's trying to make some money and doing his thing, and there's people out there that want to spend their money on that. I'm not that guy. That's an absolute insult to Kimbo Slice. Okay, they're not even the same. Not even in the same universe. Okay, Amanda Nunes will knock that kid out. I mean, to even think about that guy fighting, he's like, oh, I'm never gonna fight a winner. You shouldn't. You shouldn't, because she'll put you in a coma. Okay. The guy is just some kid off the street, and one of the big problems with him right now, he's lucky he's talking smack about real people that he could run into, you know, at a restaurant some night, things like that. This isn't a real guy. This is just some kid on YouTube.
Nope, not commentating that one. God damn, that's a good fight. That's probably a pay-per-view, that's why. That's a huge fight. And who did you say Macy Barber versus who? Sorry, Harrington?
Looking it up right now. I believe it's Alexa Grasso.
Okay. Yeah, well, listen, Gilbert Burns, good luck, my friend. That's a huge fight. Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns. Let's just talk about that really quick and we'll move on. I mean, if it goes to the floor, Gilbert has a massive advantage. So I don't know if Usman's going to use his wrestling for this. I mean, the interesting thing is that both of these people, they know each other very well. They were long-time training partners. So, you know, Usman will know the tricks that Gilbert has on the ground. Also, Gilbert will know the types of takedowns that Usman likes to use in the gym, right, or in the fights. So when you know each other very, very well, it changes things. That's why when I used to spar with this guy, Moses Morietta, when I was training, he was one of my main training partners. We sparred together all the time, and we knew each other so well. You know what I mean? So we almost knew what was going to happen. So that's an interesting dynamic between those two. Tremendous fight. I won't make a prediction this early, but yeah, well done to Gilbert Burns for getting that, and shout out Kamaru Usman as well.
to Izzy and Jan Blachowicz is set for UFC 259. What's that date? March, right? March something?
No, that date's February, I thought.
Is it February?
Is it? Well, it might be at the end of February. It might be at the
March
beginning of
6th.
March. So,
March 6th, yes. It's scheduled 259 on March 6th.
Because 57 is the 23rd.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I think, what's your take on this fight? Here, let's look at it a bunch of different ways. Did he go up there did he go up there because John left? Is that your take on it? Or do you just think it was the right time for him with a new champion? Like, hey, let me get up there.
I think it was a bunch of things. And I think, right now, people are going to sit here and I'm a homer and I'm trying to put down the UFC, which none of it's true. I look at it and I go, this is a smart move.
Yes.
For the UFC. A very smart move because, just as simple as it gets. As soon as John Jones left that, light heavyweight division, said, I'm going to heavyweight, the luster really went out of the light heavyweights for the UFC. Yeah, Blachowicz beats Reyes and he becomes champion. And he's a good champion. I take nothing away from him. But it's as soon as John left, it really takes a lot of the luster and polish of that division, which has been a stalwart of their entire roster. The light heavyweights have been awesome for a long time, and now it just doesn't have that same aura about it. And Izzy coming up into it, I think, helps elevate that aura back. Getting towards something that when John left, kind of left with it.
Okay, I disagree. I think that
that's okay.
I agree with you that 205 has always been like their pillar for their organization.
It's been a big one for a long time.
From Tito to Chuck to all the guys that were there in the middle there. I mean, it's true that it's been the pillar, I think, for the UFC. Period. I just, when you get into it, I think 205 got stale because John was so damn good. It got stale. People just got tired of they didn't get tired of watching him. They're like, John's gonna win. There was a little bit of that came back when he had the DC kind of thing, but then he beat DC both times. What, 2 times? 3 times? He beat DC. And it got stale. There was no one else that was really excited people like DC did for John and other guys that were legends before in the sport that he was able to fight and beat. It got stale. Like, people were like, John's going to win again. Sure, let's watch him. Maybe he'll do something tricky. But his fights also, I think it seemed like to me, John just got a little bit bored, though. I think he needed something new.
You can't blame him.
No,
let's be honest. We talk all the time about when you're the champ, you have to find things that motivate you because you're the guy with the target on your back. And when you were the champ, even though there was moments when he wasn't, when it was stripped from him and things like that, he's been that champ since he was 26 years of age.
Yeah, something like that.
We're talking, go back and how many title defenses he had, title fights, title defenses.
I think 13 or 14.
Yeah, I would have thought 15.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
And you look and you go, man, after a while, you got to create things to get you excited about fighting. And I think that's part of what was his move to the heavyweight division. He's got to get a little bit excited again, and this is going to do it for him. So it was a good move for him. It's a good move for the sport. It's a good move for the UFC overall in their heavyweight division, and I think it's a good move for Izzy to try to jump up there and create that that situation. The real question is, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if he does beat Blachowicz, are they going to make him give up one of those titles?
I don't think that they're gonna make him give it up because at 185, the pot needs to settle. Like, he's wiped out that division, and he's beat them pretty much. And so there's no one really that's coming up. Let them settle up who's going to be the interim champion when there's an interim champion that comes about. And
oh my God, you're starting to sound like Paulo Costa's manager. Oh, there needs to be an interim champion at 185. Guess what? If
Not
there
yet.
does,
Not yet.
Okay, I'll say it. If there does, your guy ain't going to fight for it.
Yeah, I would say not yet either.
That's just not going to happen right now.
Yeah, the only one that should be willing to get that shot would be Whitaker, like, in terms of the next title shot or an interim title shot. And then there's got to be someone else in that mix. Right now, like, that's my other point. My point is that there needs to be some dust settling amongst the ones that are below Whitaker to see who's going to fight Whitaker for an interim title. Until then, like, I think Izzy can just go up to 205. If he does win, I mean, I'd like to see him stay there probably and just drop the 185 pound because he's beat all those guys. It's no different than what we were just talking about with John. John went up to heavyweight. There's no reason for John to come back down and try to fight Izzy. If he's got guys in front of him now that he needs to fight. And I mean, he's got his hands full. I mean, Stipe is a little bit on the older end, but he's super good, really talented. He's good all the way around. He's a big guy, naturally a big guy. You know what I mean? Same thing with Ngannou. You've got other guys. I mean, it just makes it interesting. I think this, like you said, this is really good for the UFC. The fact that
I think so.
He bounced out of 205. He's created some hype now around the heavyweight division because it's stagnant. You know, it got kind of stagnant towards the end when DC was trying to get the Brock fight. He held up the division. Stipe held up the division before that. It was like this. It was never the heavyweights were never fighting very actively, and so it got stale there for a little bit. I think now John coming up, there's plenty of guys for him to fight. And if Ngannou beats or he fights Stipe and Stipe wins, it's like there's excitement there. From what I'm hearing, John's gonna get the next title shot, which I think he should.
Okay.
I mean, I think he should roll right into a title.